It's been another turbulent week in South Africa. Let's take a look now at the stories that caused a stir. I'm Devin Murrigan, and this is Week in One. On Thursday afternoon, President Cyril Ramaphosa reshuffled his cabinet. But opposition parties weren't impressed. The country now has 3 new ministers.
I've decided to make the following appointments. Minister of Home Affairs will now be Dr. Siyabonga Cwele. Minister of Environmental Affairs will now be Ms. Nomvula Mokonyane. And Minister of Communications will be Ms. Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Now, I've also decided to merge the Ministries of Communications and Telecommunications and Postal Services into a single ministry under the new Minister of Telecommunications and Communications, Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. This move is going to ensure that we have better alignment and coordination of matters that are critical to the future of our economy, particularly in the context of the 4th Industrial Revolution. Now, the 2 departments will report to the new ministry, namely the Department of Communications, as well as the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services. They will remain separate departments until the 5th administration. Now, the decision to merge the 2 ministries is in line with the work that we have been undertaking, in line with the announcement that I made during the State of the Nation address, that we are going to look at realigning government, and in anticipation of the 6th democratic administration, we will have completed this work, and when we have completed it and after the elections, we will then be able to have a much more comprehensive announcement on how we will have realigned government.
Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan finally gave his much-awaited testimony at the state capture inquiry this week. Gordhan accused former President Jacob Zuma of misleading cabinet. He also addressed accusations made against his daughter by the economic freedom fighters. Aaron Bates has more.
Pravin Gordhan calls this the politics of distraction.
It is now attacking the Commission. It is now attacking people appearing before the Commission. It is now attacking families.
Pravin's daughter has got more than 10 companies.
EFF leader Julius Malema accuses Gordhan's daughter Anisha of securing business from the state.
My daughter has not done any business with the state. The allegations of using the relationship with myself to get access to government tenders to benefit these companies is a blatant lie, and these dangerous and unfounded allegations have been made to intimidate.
The minister claims there are ulterior motives.
So all sorts of new alliances are being drawn, partly in order to attack this process and stop the revelations that would uncover what individuals are up to, but also significantly so that it would assist in the elections that are coming in 2019 as well.
Gordhan's also testified ministers were led astray.
Who lied to this executive and misled this executive and manipulated it?
No, I think in the first instance the President did. So asking us to look at intervention into the relationship between banks and their clients, for example, pushing the nuclear deal, as was indicated already, allowing for particular types of boards in SOEs to be established, putting in place particular ministers or others who might be cooperative in this venture as well. There was a scheme at play, designed by somebody.
In early 2017, 4 South African banks shut out the Guptas over 72 suspected money flows.
This was the first public acknowledgement of suspicions regarding the business affairs of the Gupta entities.
Gordon insists he could not, by law, intervene.
I've decided to make changes.
Come the end of March, Zuma recalled him from meetings in the UK and fired him.
The day of our arrival was the day that the court application regarding the closure of the Gupta business bank accounts in South Africa. It is, of course, possible that had I been removed as Minister of Finance by that time, my successor would have withdrawn the application.
The twice finance minister says Treasury resisted capture and reports ANC members kept mum out of fear.
Fear for one's life, fear for one's family, fear of losing one's job, fear of being compromised in terms of maybe future career prospects.
Aaron Bates, Johannesburg.
The Reserve Bank has increased interest rates for the first time in 2 years. The repo rate has been hiked by 25 basis points to 6.75%. The prime lending rate at banks now stands at 10.25%. Governor Lesetja Kganyago saying the weaker rand and higher oil prices have contributed to increasing inflation.
The approach of the MPC is to look through the first round effects and focus on the possible second round effects of supply side shocks. However, shocks of a persistent nature, such as extended periods of currency depreciation, elevated oil prices, and multi-year electricity price increases, make it difficult to disentangle these first and second round effects. The MPC had to decide whether to act now or later. Given the relative stability in the underlying core inflation measures, delaying the adjustment could give the MPC room to reassess these unfolding developments in subsequent meetings. However, delaying the adjustment could cause inflation expectations to become entrenched at higher levels and thus contribute to second-round effects which could require an even stronger monetary policy response in the future. Against this backdrop, the MPC has decided to increase the repurchase rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% per year, effective from the 23rd of November 2018.
Now, this week, the Auditor General's report for the 2017-2018 financial year was released, and it wasn't good news. Over 55 billion rand worth of taxpayers' money was lost to unauthorized, irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Only 99 of 434 SOEs, national and provincial departments, could provide quality financial statements and performance reports. ENCA's Paleri Setusa reports.
Auditor General Kimi Makwetu paints a bleak picture in the audit report of the last financial year. There's been a decrease in the number of unqualified audits and a rise in unauthorized, irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure.
Unauthorized expenditure is you've spent money that you were not really given. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure was about 2.5 billion. So that is money that was already given to you, but you spent it in ways that do not bring any value.
But Makwetu says the days of getting away with misusing public funds will soon be over. He says the Public Audit Amendment Bill will act as a deterrent to potential wrongdoers.
The Auditor General has now been given statutory powers through the law of Parliament to take specific steps that are going to make it very painful for me to continue to ignore those recommendations that the Audit Office issues every year. Now the issue is, you now have a choice as the person responsible in that environment as an accounting officer, either to go the route of being responsive to the recommendations that are geared towards fixing the holes that create abuse, or if you leave it like that, then it becomes your personal responsibility.
The National Department of Water and Sanitation and various provincial health and education departments are some of the biggest culprits. At least 16 of them require urgent intervention.
Their financial management is so broken that because of the lack of the controls that are required, they could be paying already for things that they shouldn't be paying for. So the risk is very high that they will run out of money in the future.
Basically, Makwetu says even for those pleading poverty, financial injections are not the answer. Piladi Situsa, Parliament.
The embattled West Rand municipality will receive a bailout from Treasury to pay salaries this month. The municipality, which invested over 70 million rand in the now liquidated VBS Mutual Bank, has been battling to pay workers. ENCA's Lindelo Masikane reports.
Workers bearing the brunt of poor management decisions. These public servants are hoping their November salaries and other outstanding monies will be deposited by Sunday. Hundreds of them have been on strike since last month after it emerged that West Rand municipality couldn't afford to pay them. Part of its financial woes stem from its over 70 million rand investment in VBS Mutual Bank. The Gauteng government says the West Rand municipality will receive a grant from the National Treasury to enable it to pay its staff.
When the equitable share is advanced, because it's due on the 1st of December, it should seek to address the problem. The problem is to pay salaries of employees of West Rand District Municipality, and secondly, to pay the third parties.
A financial recovery plan will outline the future of the municipality and whether it will have to be placed under administration. However, it's yet to be finalized. Municipal Workers Union SAMWU is outraged and demanding answers.
We've opened a fraud. We want somebody to be charged and somebody must be held accountable. Somebody must be prosecuted because it is not our fault. It's not even explained that why our money is not being paid, at least our deductions, let alone the employer's contribution.
The equally embattled Mfuleni municipality, which was placed under administration in June, is said to be recovering well. But it remains to be seen whether the current interventions at both municipalities will be enough to save them. Slindalo Masigane, Johannesburg.
Coming up, the Kolobeni community in the Eastern Cape celebrates following the North Gauteng High Court ruling on mining in the area.